Gill Rosenberg is the first foreign woman to join the fight against ISIS. She joins me today to share her experiences with us. Thank you so much for joining us, Gill.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with your backstory, Gill. How did you, a Jewish, Canadian, Israeli woman, end up in Syria and Iraq fighting against ISIS?
I had been watching everything on social media for a while, the situation that was taking place there, and especially everything that was happening in Sinjar, on the mountain with the Yazidis and the Christians. From what I saw, it was like a genocide was taking place, and we say as Jews, never again. I grew up with a very strong education in the Holocaust. My family didn't personally lose anybody, as far as I know, but I grew up with like a very strong Holocaust education, and I think we say never again, and that means not just for Jews, it means for anybody. We don't stay silent and watch a genocide take place anywhere to anyone. And for me, I felt like there was something I could do, and I wanted to help. I saw that they had women fighting on the front lines, and I thought, why not me?
Were there many other women fighting?
In Syria, there are. In Iraq, I spent 3 months in Syria. In Iraq, there's no other women on the front line. At least in the KDP region, further south, there's women on the front line in the PKK territory, but so it varies from location to location. But in Syria, the women are the ones that are winning the war.
So how did it feel when you were in Iraq and you were the only woman?
I didn't feel like I was treated any differently. I felt like I was always treated with the utmost respect. Everyone, treated me like I had the same capabilities and, physical ability as anybody else that was out there.
And what about your Jewish and Israeli identities? Were they aware of them?
Yeah, for the most part they were. In Syria, it was the high commanders that knew, and sort of like the mid-level commanders, and then the regular soldiers didn't know. And that wasn't because there was any problem with the Kurds. The Kurds, love Israel, they love the Jewish people, but they also had some local Syrian Arabs that might not be so fond of Jews and Israelis. So they said it's better if you just tell people you're Canadian. In Iraq, for the most part, everybody knew. If they didn't know at the beginning, they found out, within a couple months, because they would friend me on Facebook and see all the messages in Hebrew and whatnot. And I think we discovered more similarities between us than differences for the most part.
Is there any particularly memorable, moving experience that you can share with us from your time there?
I think one of the most moving experiences for me was driving through Sinjar after it was taken back, and seeing the devastation that was caused in the population there. You see one age of children there, and it's under the age of 8 and male. All the girls, no matter what age, have been taken away and sold into sex slavery or taken as wives for a Daesh fighter. And the boys over the age of 8 have been taken as soldiers in ISIS. So, you can't help but notice, you can't help but notice that that the women and children are just gone in that area.
So now that you're back in Israel, what next?
That's a good question. I want to switch more to like the humanitarian side. I want to keep helping women and children, especially in Syria and Iraq. So something more on the humanitarian side. I've been approached by a few organizations already, and I just have to see what's the best fit for me and what is going to do the most good there. So. And I think I need like a week or two of just doing nothing in order to really get my thoughts together and figure out what's next.
Sure. Why did you decide to come back when you did?
I came back because the situation on the ground is changing a lot, especially with the Iranians and now the Turks. The Turkish forces have been bombing Kurdish forces inside of northern Iraq as of a couple days ago. The Iranians are making most of the advancements in southern Kurdistan, and I just felt like the dynamics were changing a lot, and that Daesh isn't the only threat, that Iran is certainly just as great a threat, if not greater. And after 9 months, I was a little burned out, so I felt like between the combination of things, it was time to go.
Was it scary
Scary leaving?
being there?
I was never scared. No, I mean, there's definitely times when your adrenaline is surging more than others, but I was never scared. I was never in fear for my life.
And have you kept in touch with the people that you were there fighting with?
Every day, like nonstop. I just closed a message on WhatsApp a couple of minutes ago from one of the guys that's on the front line. So it's not possible to just leave and close the door on it. I think about the guys that I left behind there every day.
Sure. What do you think about Israel's role? Do you think Israel should play more of an active role in the fight against ISIS?
I think it's tricky politically. Obviously, I think the Kurds need a lot more Western support than they have. This isn't just their fight. This is the world's fight, and if we don't fight them there, then they're going to be at our borders, and they almost already are at our borders. As far as Israel's involvement, I think that there's more that they could do. Definitely on a very quiet level, in terms of training and possibly arming the Kurds. But I understand also that we have enough of our own problems here, just surviving day to day, surrounded by enemies and with the threat of Iran. So I understand like both perspectives, but the Kurds could potentially be our strongest ally in the Middle East, and I think we owe them more than we've given them.
Okay, thank you so much, Jill.
Thank you.